read anything. Oh, she got pissed because I wanted to put a TV in the nursery. And like, I haven't even decorated the nursery yet. The only thing I wanted was a TV so far. And I'm the worst person for ever wanting a TV.
You guys are on TV.
Yes.
You have to have a TV.
And like when you're breastfeeding.
In the unforgiving spotlight of reality TV, emotionally you must be incredibly strong to endure the environment it creates. Khloe Kardashian, a figure often seen as resilient and composed, found herself in a situation that would test her emotional strength like never before. It wasn't just the pressures of fame, but a heart-wrenching personal tragedy that thrust her into a battle for her family's survival and her own emotional well-being. Tatum, the beloved child of reality TV stars Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson, was full of life and energy until a tragic accident at just 5 years old changed everything. During a family pool party, amidst the chaos, Tatum wandered away unnoticed. The once vibrant event quickly turned into a nightmare when Tatum was found unconscious at the bottom of the pool. By the time he was rescued, he wasn't breathing. The moments that followed were a chaotic blur of panic and desperation. Paramedics worked tirelessly to revive Tatum, while Khloe, paralyzed with fear, could only watch helplessly. After what felt like an eternity, they managed to get his heart beating again, but the damage was severe. Tatum was rushed to the hospital, where doctors delivered the devastating news he had suffered a severe cardiac arrest due to the lack of oxygen.
I started hysterically crying. Felt like I can't believe this is real. And it devastated me because that's when all the judgment. I admittedly buried my head in the sand. And I said to Dr. A, I can't do this. He faced it. I very much think I was in denial that this is happening.
His heart had been without blood flow for too long, putting him at serious risk of heart failure. Khloe and Tristan were shattered. In an instant, their lives had been turned upside down, and they were now faced with the unimaginable losing their beloved child. The following weeks were an emotional roller coaster as they clung to hope for Tatum's recovery. Despite the medical team's best efforts, his condition worsened and his heart grew weaker. The only option left was a risky and complicated heart surgery. As the day of the surgery approached, Khloe's anxiety reached a fever pitch. She had already lost so much: the carefree days of her family's childhood, the innocence of her son's laughter, and the simple joy of watching Tatum grow and thrive. The thought of losing him now, after everything they had been through, was almost too much to bear.
We did an embryo transfer like days before Thanksgiving, and I found out about Tristan's situation the first week of December. It's just so close. I wouldn't want anyone to think I did this after the fact, because I'm not that much of a sociopath. I'm a lunatic, but not like that. I think the anxiety, like I can't even begin to think about that.
On the morning of the surgery, Khloe was a bundle of nerves. She paced the hospital corridors, her mind racing with 1,000 what-ifs and a deep, abiding fear that she might never see her son's bright eyes again. Tristan did his best to comfort her, but even his reassuring presence couldn't ease the weight of the impending uncertainty. When the time came for Tatum to be wheeled into the operating room, Khloe was overcome with emotion. She hugged her son tightly, whispering words of love and encouragement before reluctantly letting him go. The surgery itself was a tense and nerve-wracking ordeal, lasting several hours. Khloe and Tristan kept vigil by the phone, waiting for updates from the surgical team. Each minute felt like an eternity as they were caught in a whirlwind of fear, anxiety, and a desperate need for good news.
But for me, it's a lifestyle because my whole life, I was an emotional eater and I did not have any of this under control. So it was new for me. So I took baby steps in doing that. So I would say towards like my divorce era, but it took a minute for me to then be like, okay, I'm going to take this seriously.
You get addicted to the results and then you think, okay, I'm going to keep going.
Definitely.
Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the call came. The surgery had been a success, and Tatum was now in the recovery room, his vital signs stable, and his heart functioning better than it had in weeks. Khloe let out a sob of relief, the weight of her anxiety finally lifting from her shoulders, but the emotional journey was far from over. As Tatum slowly recovered in the hospital, Khloe found herself grappling with a new wave of emotions, a mix of overwhelming gratitude, profound relief, and a deep, lingering trauma that refused to go away. The once bubbly and carefree Khloe was now a shadow of her former self. She spent hours by Tatum's bedside, holding his hand and watching him sleep. Her eyes constantly searched for any sign of distress or discomfort, and the slightest change in his vital signs would send her into a panic. She found herself unable to leave his side, fearing that something might go wrong if she did. Tristan did his best to support his wife, but but even his calming presence couldn't fully alleviate Khloe's anxiety. She was consumed by a deep, gnawing fear that the nightmare might not be over, that Tatum's recovery could be derailed at any moment. As the days turned into weeks, Khloe's emotional state continued to deteriorate. She became withdrawn and short-tempered, lashing out at the medical staff and even at Tristan when he tried to encourage her to take a break. The once vibrant reality star was now a shell of her former self, her spark dimmed by the weight of her trauma. Tristan knew he had to do something to help his wife, but he was at a loss as to what to do. He tried to convince Khloe to seek professional help, to talk to a therapist, and work through the emotional turmoil she was experiencing, but Khloe was resistant. She insisted that she needed to be by Tatum's side every moment of every day. It was during one of Tatum's follow-up appointments that the true extent of Khloe's emotional breakdown became clear. As the doctor delivered the good news that Tatum's heart was healing well and that he was making steady progress, Khloe suddenly broke down in tears. The floodgates opened, and she found herself unable to hold back the emotions that had been building up inside her. She wept uncontrollably, her body shaking with the force of her sobs. In the quiet of the room, Khloe finally opened up about the depth of her anguish. She spoke of the constant fear that had gripped her since the drowning incident, the worry that Tatum's recovery could be derailed at any moment. She confessed to the guilt she felt, the nagging sense that she had somehow failed as a mother by not being able to protect her son. Tristan listened intently, his heart breaking for his wife. He knew that the emotional toll of the past few weeks had been immense, and he vowed to do whatever it took to help Khloe heal. Together, they agreed that it was time for Khloe to seek professional help to work through the trauma and anxiety that had consumed her. In the weeks that followed, Khloe began attending regular therapy sessions to address the deep emotional wounds caused by the traumatic experience. It was a gradual and often painful journey, but with the support of her husband, family, and therapist, Khloe slowly began to rebuild her sense of self. As Tatum's health continued to improve, Khloe's own healing journey became more apparent. She started to laugh and smile again, her eyes reflecting a new sense of joy and wonder. She understood that the road ahead would be long and tough, but she felt prepared to face it with the unwavering love and support of her family. Khloe's journey raises a key question: how do we find strength after our worst moments? How do we cope with difficult times? It's a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is hope for healing and the possibility of emerging stronger on the other side. What's your view on this? Tell us in the comment section, and also support us by subscribing to our channel.
You guys are so dysfunctional, and I don't know if this is like something you guys do as foreplay, but this is nuts. Kim, want to come down here with me?
What are you doing?
Going down. You want to go in my kayak? Yes or no?
So not funny.
All right.